Ahead on 12 News, 8 cities, but only one fire department? Would a regional merger make sense for fire service? Find out what a study says about the idea. Then, a family and a community rally around a New Hope woman battling a rare form of cancer. But first, a big victory for backers of same-sex marriage. 12 News starts right now. A historic vote at the Minnesota State Capitol as the House approves to legalize same-sex marriage.
The vote came as crowds of people on both sides of the issue packed the state capitol to make their voices heard. Elaine Cleveland was there and has more.
Just outside the doors to the House chamber, a color-coded collection of people both for and against same-sex marriage gathered to make one last plea before legislators began a historic debate.
I come up here today and it's like a circus.
With a fan at his side to keep him cool.
A few years ago I got wise and started bringing a fan with me.
Robbinsdale resident Doug Benson joined hundreds packed in the rotunda.
Well, I'm gay. My husband and I have been together for 22 years. And we were married in Canada in 2003, and our marriage is not recognized here.
A House yes vote would put him one step closer to legally being married in Minnesota.
It really is a huge step.
Meanwhile, on the rain-soaked Capitol steps,
we have families and all faith communities that have come out today. Bus loads have been coming from our different locations.
Minnesotans for Marriage handed out signs and T-shirts aimed at urging legislators to uphold current law, marriage between one man and one woman.
That is the one institution that can bring two together that are uniquely capable of creating a child. That child deserves to have a mom and a dad, and we feel very strongly about that.
The group also argued that the bill doesn't give adequate protection to those who oppose same-sex marriage for religious reasons.
It's bad policy. It's bad public policy, and that's why we're here to make our voices heard.
Now is the time! This is the year!
But as each side tries to drown out the other, Benson is just happy to finally see the issue coming to a vote after 20 years of advocating for same-sex marriage.
What a day. What an exciting, momentous day, really.
The official House vote was 75 in favor of same-sex marriage, 59 against. The Senate is expected to vote on the issue on Monday. Mike and Alex.
All right, we'll see what happens. Thank you very much. Well, today, a judge heard closing arguments in the Eddie Mosley murder trial.
Mosley is facing 9 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of DeLois Brown and her parents, James and Clover Bolden. The 3 were shot to death in their Brooklyn Park home last year. Renee Bonneau has been following the trial and joins us now with the latest. Renee?
Mike and Alex, prosecutors painted Mosley as a desperate man driven to silence his teenage niece who accused him of sexual assault. They say eyewitness testimony and evidence showed Mosley drove from Missouri to DeLois Brown's home on the morning of April 9th last year with the intention of killing his niece and Brown. When he got there, he didn't find the girl, but he did find Brown and her elderly parents. Each one was shot twice in the head. Defense attorney Travis Kyle argued investigators had no murder weapon, no DNA, and no fingerprints to prove Mosley committed the crime. He also argued the prosecution's key witnesses contradicted each other when describing what they thought Mosley wore that day. Now, both sides concluded that what happened to Brown and her parents were horrendous crimes, but the prosecution said there's no doubt Mosley did it, while the defense insists Mosley wasn't even in Minnesota that day and couldn't have done it. Mike and Alex, since this is a bench trial, the judge will decide the verdict, and that's expected to come next week.
All right. Thanks a lot, Renee. Well, does it make sense for local cities in the Northwest Metro to merge their fire departments to save money? Right now, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, Maple Grove, Plymouth, New Hope, Crystal, Robbinsdale, and Osseo spend a combined total of more than $11 million for fire services. A new study shows whether it would make sense to create one regional fire department.
We're looking at ways that the fire departments can work better together to increase efficiency, increase effectiveness, lower costs if at all possible.
It is the bottom line for local cities. Can they save money and still offer the same quality of service by merging into one regional fire department?
In the wake of decreased local government aid, everyone's trying to do more with less.
It's not an easy question. Local fire departments all put out fires, but different cities like Brooklyn Park's fire department also respond to EMS calls.
No one's going to flip a switch and become a single regional fire department tomorrow. It is a very lengthy and arduous process.
After months of study, a report by a consulting firm shows the total savings of merging all fire departments into one would be about $363,000. It's not a huge savings because local fire departments are mainly staffed by volunteers and paid on-call firefighters, not salaried positions. The study also finds it wouldn't be feasible to merge fire departments operationally because different fire departments offer varying services.
There's some things that we can identify that we can do more on and probably work on that. And then the areas that don't make sense, we don't want to do that. That's always been kind of the case.
There are ways local fire departments can work together to increase efficiency, and in some cases they already do. Now the question is, can they do even more? Now that the results of the study are out, it is up to each city to take a look at smaller ways they might be able to work together to save money.
The Minnesota State Fishing Opener this weekend will usher in the summer driving season as well, and a very dangerous time on the roadways. So today, State Patrol and law enforcement agencies announced the largest DWI crackdown in the 7-county metro will happen on Friday. More than 150 squads from more than 70 agencies will be on the roads looking for impaired drivers. Expect DWI patrols in Golden Valley too, where the number of arrests this year is expected to top 200, which is more than usual.
We all have a role to play in combating drunk driving. Help us keep our roads safe by making good, safe decisions.
The Department of Public Safety says more than 30,000 people are arrested for drunken driving every year, and more than 100 people die because of it.
Construction may be 9 years away and funding is uncertain, but the approval process for the Bottineau light rail line is moving forward. The Metropolitan Council approved the 13-mile route that would start at Target Field and run through Worth Park in Golden Valley. It would also pass through Robbinsdale and Crystal before ending in Brooklyn Park. The chair of the Met Council called the route the key to the region's future development. A local family is optimistic that community support and advanced science will help cure a New Hope woman battling from a form of leukemia called CLL.
Pam Terrace has been fighting the disease for more than 2 years.
You obviously have your days where you're just like, having cancer sucks, but like she kind of put it together and like there's always a positive in something. Just like the start in the front of the box, it says always look on the bright side of life. And like it just shows her like how optimistic she is and everything.
It's what the family calls Pam's Cancer Box, a collection of positive messages. Pam had to give up teaching and is currently at the Mayo Clinic after undergoing a stem cell transplant through the help of the Be the Match program.
If Pam didn't have a donor match, her CLL would progress and it eventually would kill her. So stem cell was really how we are saving Pam, and having a match through Be the Match saved her.
She'll complain about she's not feeling good, but she's always got that good attitude and she always has a smile on. So she's going through it and she's making the best of it.
A fundraiser will take place on Friday night to help with Pam's medical costs. It starts at 6 p.m. at the New Hope Bowl. Coming up, a Golden Valley student who strives to be on the cutting edge of global change.
And later in sports, Armstrong and Champlin Park meet up in a key matchup in girls lacrosse.
But first, your AccuWeather forecast.
This weekend's walleye fishing opener will be one for the ages. Many lakes up north are still iced over, but that's not expected to dampen fishing enthusiasm locally. According to the DNR, the Brooklyn Park Mills Fleet Farm sold the most fishing licenses in the state last year. She is devoted to helping others, but she won't settle for short-term solutions.
Renee Bonneau introduces you to a standout student who is dedicated to sparking global change.
Is it even possible to quantify our charitable burden?
Like most Standout students, Hutton Phillips is a teacher's dream.
I am happiest when I give of myself, even if I feel like I have nothing left to give.
She's engaged in school and gets good grades, but it's what she does outside the classroom and the country that makes her exceptional.
I want to make a difference, and I think I'm trying to decide how to best do that.
In 2007 and 2011, Hutton worked with children in Ethiopia through the Worldwide Orphans Foundation. And just last summer, she traveled to Rwanda to learn about post-genocide conflict resolution. She realized in her travels that she wanted to give more of herself than a few days of service work.
As one person, I can only do so much, but in terms of policy, you can create so much more change if you're just able to look past the one child in front of you and see the bigger picture.
These are policy things. These aren't, let's get the food drive going, which is important, but yet she sees the bigger picture, and that's the impressive part about Hutton.
It is in my best interest to give of myself to others.
Hutton will study political science at Davidson College in North Carolina. She also plans to go to law school. And while she might not yet know how she'll make a difference in this world, it's clear to others she is already well on her way. In Golden Valley, Renee Bonnot, 12 News.
Hutton is going to college next year, but she'll be back in Minnesota in October as co-chair of the We Day Youth Volunteer event. About 18,000 young volunteers are expected to attend, and among the headliners, the Jonas Brothers, and you might recognize this name, Mikhail Gorbachev. So that's going to be an unusual combination.
What a combo.
Well, good for her, though.
Yes.
Coming up, a large milestone captured with one little bundle of joy.
But first in sports, why the Wayzata girls golf team is shaping up to be one of the state's best. Jay Wilcox has that and more when we come back.
Jay Wilcox now with sports. It's what golfers love to see. Courses are greening up and doing so fast, and so kids are getting out there.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to play better when you actually get on the normal conditions. You're not battling the weather quite as much as they were early on here. Golf courses are rapidly turning green, much to the delight of local high school players, and the Wayzata girls are off to a very strong start. It looks like Wayzata's girls made the best of their time hitting indoors and searching for places to play before decent weather arrived.
Well, so far our team's done a pretty good job of getting practices in, even though it's been kind of nasty weather. We've done a couple indoor stuff with different simulators, and then also putting inside on carpet.
Yeah, I think we definitely made really good use of our time. We hit at the Inside Edge simulators for the entire month of March and the entire month of April, and that was definitely really good to just kind of get some team bonding in and get people swinging and kind of get the feel back of, how your golf game's going to go. And
it's so far so good for Wayzata as actual competitions get underway. They won the Chaska Invitational and entered Wednesday 3-0 in dual matches, including a one-stroke win over rival Minnetonka.
Our first tournament went really, really well. We've had different kids step up in each of our 3 events. So far so good.
The Trojans placed 3rd in the state in Class 3A last June and are currently rated 2nd in the MGA team rankings, while Sarah Burnham is ranked number 1 as an individual. It's not a stretch at all to say this team could compete for a championship.
yeah, I would like to think so, definitely. I think we play really well, and I think we're all, capable of shooting low enough scores to, hopefully win our section and contend for a state championship.
I think we're in the conversation. We've got girls back with state tournament experience, finishing 3rd last year, and we've got 4 out of the 6 from last year's team back. But you know what? It comes down to 2 days in May in the section tournament, and then see what happens if we're fortunate enough to get to the state tournament.
It's a short season, but their golf games are coming together nicely at Wayzata. The Trojans did lose by 1 stroke to Eden Prairie Wednesday. Hopefully it wasn't the Channel 12 jinx. They're in the Northfield tournament Thursday afternoon. In softball, the Cooper Hawks are playing better after an 0-3 start. The Hawks hosting St. Louis Park in a North Suburban Conference game. Bottom of the first, and with Casey Anderson at the plate, a pass ball scores Katie McGuire from 3rd base. As she just gets under the tag, it's 1-0 Hawks. 4th inning, and Sally Baker hits one that'll get past Park pitcher Lauren Resnick. Mara Hicks scores, and the Hawks lead 4-0 after 4 innings. Bottom of the 5th, and Jody Bruner will single up the middle to plate Anderson with Cooper's 5th run of the afternoon. And then Kristen Conier rips one down the line and left. This one scores 2 as Angie McGrath and Bruner score on a double. And Cooper leads this game 7-0 through 5 innings. Hawks pitcher Rhiannon Biener is solid too. She gets a strikeout here to end the top of the 6th. Cooper scores 3 more runs in the bottom of the 6th to end it. The Hawks win 10-0 and take on Armstrong Friday night at Robbinsdale Spangers Park in the first game of the Cooper tournament. The Champlin Park and Armstrong girls lacrosse teams, along with Coon Rapids, finished in a tie for the Northwest Suburban title last spring. Armstrong and Champlin Park each had 1 loss coming into their game on Wednesday. Armstrong is on fire to start. Mari Verbaten carries it up the middle to score just 22 seconds into the game. Haley Hatton goes low with the shot to make it 2-0. The Falcons get 3 goals in the first 4 minutes. Champlin Park settles down though. Margie McNamara scores to pull them within 3-2 on the way to a 3-goal night for her. After leading 4-2 at halftime, Bill Moore's Falcons take off in the second half. Hatton scores the 3rd of her 4 goals here to make it 6-2. Verbaten scoops up the ground ball in front of the Rebels' goal and feeds Kelsey Ostick for the low shot. That makes it 8-2 Falcons. Ostick scores 2 goals on the night. As the rain picks up, Armstrong keeps coming with offense. Verbaten with a nice pass sets up Amy Master for her 3rd goal, and it's 9-2. Hatton sets up Haley Holdall, who will take a whack in the mouth, but still nets the first of 3 straight goals for her as the Falcons win it 14-5. While official high school league section track meets are at the end of May, Coaches Association-sponsored True Team sections are this week. The Wayzata boys race to the win in the Section 7 3A meet ahead of host team Hopkins. Eden Prairie is 3rd. Armstrong places 6th of 7 teams. On the girls' side, Minnetonka is the champion with Edina 2nd and Chanhassen 3rd. Hopkins, Wayzata, and Armstrong are in the 5, 6, 7 spot. State True Team for Class 3A is next Friday, the 17th, at Stillwater. So we'll have at least a couple of teams. Champlin Park's boys also will be involved in that.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jay.
You're welcome.
Still ahead, a significant feat wrapped in swaddling clothing.
We'll be right back. Well, finally, a significant milestone reached in Maple Grove that weighs 6 pounds and 15 ounces.
And Maple Grove Hospital delivered its 10,000th baby this week. Landon Wold of Monticello was born on Tuesday evening. The delivery is a testament to the rapid growth of Maple Grove Hospital. It opened about 3 years ago and did not expect to deliver this many babies until 2017. In fact, Maple Grove Hospital had the 2nd highest delivery volume in the state last year. And the hospital is going to celebrate this milestone with an event coming up on Saturday. A lot of kids around, goes from 2 to 5 kid-friendly activities.
Well, of course, they have 10,000 kids there.
And probably about a 3-year-old ready to play
that's
there, right? That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Community Corner coming up next. We'll see you back here again Friday at 4.